Peter Dullen has a broad experience, more than 20 years experience in testing. At this moment, he's working as an Agile coach at our customer BNP Paribas. But before that, he worked as Agile coach at the company King, who develops this pretty nice, addictive game. So Peter will introduce us in the, I would say, the way of working at that company, the software development lifecycle. But moreover, he will explain us why the meaning of Agile is not Agile. So help me in welcoming Peter to the stage. Peter, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Can I get glass?
I will get the glass for you, no problem.
It is September 12th, 2012. I'll take you back in time. I just finished my second assignment as an Agile test course for CTG, and I was very, very excited. This was actually fun. This was a good thing to do, and I wanted more. This was going to be the new hype, and I wanted to be part of that hype. At that moment, I decided to leave CTG behind and set out on my own adventure, thinking that, one, I understood what it meant to be agile, and two, people would be jumping up and down and sideways to be part of this great new way of working. I want to share some very painful experiences for me that have proven both my thinkings wrong multiple times. I also want to share with you something that has helped me over the past 4 years into making something succeed. My first thinking was, I know what this Agile is about. It's not complicated. It's written in the Agile Manifesto, and I got that down to an art. The Agile Manifesto for me were 4 lines. It's pretty simple. You have people over process. Yeah, good. People make your software a product, not your process. So value your people. Good, win for me. Working products over documentation. Now I'm a very big game geek, as Fons already said, and you might see it a little bit. So I like playing my game more than I like reading about it. Score number 2. This collaboration over contract. That was a little bit more difficult at the start, but I know where it came from. So I work for CTG. I like contracts. If we did not have contracts, I would not have a job. What happens with contracts is that companies will always need help in accomplishing something. Very few companies have all knowledge in-house. So they search for partners, like we do, like you might do. And you set out into a big adventure to complete a project. Somewhere down the line, things change. And you think, this contract is actually not the thing we want anymore. And then fun things start to happen. You're going to start fighting over the contract. You say, no, we don't want it anymore, we want something else. And the other party says, no, this is what you signed, this is what we're going to do, right? And then legal things start erupting, and it's becoming a big mess. So when you say collaboration over contracts, you say contracts are important, but let them be more flexible. Don't fight over the letter of the contract while you completely ignore trying to find a solution for the project. And the last thing is change over plan. Plan is good, but plans change. And it's very simple. Asking someone to write all the specifications 6 months in advance before you start your project is humanly not possible. No one can do that. So at a certain moment, someone's going to have a better idea, and what you're going to do then? You're going to say, I have this great idea. Yeah, but it's not in the plan, so we're not going to do it. Instead of having a bright new thing, let's make this less good thing instead, because that's how we planned it. That's not what we want. So this was for me the Agile Manifesto. This was my sword of truth, my sword of justice, to decide what was Agile and what was definitely not Agile. And there were a lot of people running around. They had different swords. But they had wrong swords. I mean, this was the right one. You had people saying, oh, we don't need documentation. Wrong sword. You do need documentation. It needs to be valuable. And things were going well. Well, I thought things were going well. Depending on who you talk to, they might say, oh, things were getting, this guy's getting more cocky and stubborn, actually. So two sides of a coin. I was firm in my belief, so for me things were going well, until someone asked me in the discussion, and he said, Peter, if you're so sure about this whole concept, what's the most important sentence in the Agile Manifesto? I was completely, that's not a fair question. Everything is important in the Agile Manifesto. Don't ask me to pick one. I mean, that's not possible. And I thought I'm going to play this smart. So I'm going to ask a question back to him and say, what do you think is the most important sentence in the Agile Manifesto? I said, okay, for me, the most important sentence is, we are uncovering. And I said, what? Not even on my flip chart. I mean, that makes no sense. Why do you say we are uncovering? He says, well, the core behind the Agile Manifesto is that it's a journey of discovery. It's a very strange thing. It was written in February 2001 by 17 software practitioners gathering in a ski resort in Utah because they acknowledged that Waterfall had some issues. Mainly they were talking about the silos. Communication only happens at a certain moment, like your analysts gave it to your developers, and then they ran off. And there you were as a group of developers, now we have to build this thing. And I have a question, and you want to go back to your analyst, and you say, oh no, I'm not available, I'm doing the next thing already. Or they simply disappeared at all. You couldn't find them anymore. So they said, no, we have to find a better way of doing it. And there were people from XP there, Scrum was already there, Rob. And if you invite a bunch of very, very, very good people to discuss a problem, they agree on nothing. You ever had that? You invite all the smart people and nothing comes out of the meeting because they all want to be right. And depending on the story you're being told, the manifesto was written by just a handful of those guys while the rest was outside drinking coffee and having a smoke. And they came back in and said, okay, we can't disagree with this. I said, but those 4 values, that's the start, he said. That's not the end. We want to make people think about, how do you want to change your way of working? If you ask that question, that in itself is Agile. You want to improve things. There's no right or wrong. You don't know if it's wrong. It's the intention to change. If all your intention came true, then on one side the tobacco industry would have a lot less money, and on the other, more personal side, I would have the body of a Greek god from going to the gym all the time. Which has obviously failed. Yes. Not because of lack of good intention, because of lack of many different other reasons. I said, okay, so being or doing Agile can never be a goal. And I have experienced a lot of coaches wanting to prove they're right. No, that's not the goal. Agile is a support for something. So there I stood. Okay, man, you're right. He was totally right. All my stubbornness, all my ideas, all my sort of truth, how it goes. And those intentions lead me to the second part of my, I would say, conviction now. People would be jumping up and down to work in this new Agile way, which is not really true, I have experienced. And what about all these claims we're making? We go to market faster, we deliver better quality, we continuously improve. all those things, are they not right? Well, they are right in some way. I mean, there's plenty of proof where it has worked in the market. There's also proof that it has not worked in the market. But they are not false claims. Working in a more agile way can support you in reaching those objectives. What I never realized is, how do we bring this message to the teams? And I was a very not really motivated developer I was having a talk with. I said, but don't you want to deliver faster and get better? Yeah, if you put it that way, I think so. Wow, why are you not excited about this? He said, well, very honestly, you were telling me that, all right guys, we're going to deliver faster. I said, are you blaming me for not working hard enough? If you say, we're going to provide better quality, are you telling me that I make stupid mistakes and I introduce bugs in my code? I said, no, that's not what I'm saying. He said, no, it's not what you're saying, but that's how we are hearing it. That is the message for us. I mean, we are as a team, we are working hard, we're doing our best, we're doing as much as we can. And then there's this very strange guy coming in saying, all right guys, we're going to work faster, better, and do it in a completely new way. And then you ask us to be like enthusiastic about it? That's not going to happen. That's not how the cookie crumbles. And he was absolutely right. Because better, faster, more is actually putting all the focus on your process. Those are process concepts. Meaning that if you put your focus there, all the strain is on your people. And when you push people too much, most likely one of two things happen. One is they give up, so I don't care anymore, which is still okay-ish for me. The second one is they're going to spend energy into trying to circumvent that new way of working. Like, all right, I'm going to find ways that guy can say whatever he wants. I'm still going to do it my way. And you're actually achieving the opposite of the thing that you want to achieve. Because you put your focus not in the right place. Now, over the past years, when I shared the experience with people, a lot of coaches have told me, Peter, of course you were wrong. It's not about the process or being agile, it's about the people. You know, they need empowerment, they need ownership, they need to gel the team. Now there's two things I want you to do if you're curious about that. Tonight, you go to LinkedIn or any Agile community and you start a topic about empowerment and ownership. And you sit back and eat popcorn. And a whole world of utopia will open before you with the most wonderful stories about self-organizing teams and autocracy in companies that don't need management and HR anymore. It's great, it's wonderful, it's a good read. And will fill you with energy, like, yeah, that's where we want to go. And the next day, you go to one of your teams and say, guys, I have a splendid idea. I fully empower you to do the best you can for this product. It's now yours. You have full ownership to do whatever is needed. And then you grab your popcorn again and you sit back. Most likely, nothing is going to happen. In the best case, you're going to have someone looking at you thinking, is this guy serious? What does this mean? It's very easy to say these words. It's very easy to say, you have to gel the team. Okay, give me the gel. What is it? What's the composition? Now that's a question you don't get an easy answer from. That's the question I was stuck with. I had the incredible opportunity to work for a company like King, which later became Activision Blizzard King, different story, and to experience something quite different than what I expected. So on a side note, something very strange is going to happen now, which is related to what I'm going to share is, of course, I now work for C2G. I am very happy C2G employee. the moment I came back from Spain, the first one I called was Eddie at HR, and I said, Eddie, do you still need people? Luckily he said yes. He said, no, you would be listening to someone else right now. So, very good. But if I talk about my experiences at King, I'm automatically going to start using we and us. And that's for a very specific reason. I went to Barcelona with a mission for King, and that was, we want to create a new game studio, a creation studio. And King publicly states it's an agile company. What that meant was that we had the same questions as that many other companies have. What does that mean? Why? How do we do that? What's in it for the people? I don't know. Now they have a gigantic hit with Candy Crush and Candy Crush Soda. It makes millions a day. It's crazy. But does a big hit make you an agile company? No, not really. So it was something else. Said, okay, strategically, we got all the information for the studio. What kind of mechanics we were working with, why this new studio, what would be the position of the new game be in the market, what would happen if we failed, all that perfectly explained by King senior management. Very good. Now back to the studio, where there's a bunch of people coming from either no agile experience at all. They came from other game companies. Although it sounds nice, creating games is not always the most fun thing to do. If you talk about an overtime business, that would be gaming. We had people coming from agile environments that had completely different experiences, worked in a very different way than what we were planning to do. How are we going to bring those people together? What was the gel for those people to make sure that we could make a good game? Big puzzle question. At the same time, Gamasutra did a study over 550 games projects with a length between 3 months and I think almost 4 years, searching for what makes teams successful based on the ROI of the game, adherence to schedule, adherence to features, actual income of the game, morale of all those things. And it's a very thick document, and I was going to share 3 things for you. One is, and this might be a bit on a side note, is that experience matters. If you're doing an agile project, an agile transformation, experience is more important than you think. Because they did 2 investigations. On one side, a very, very, very highly motivated team that was working together in a very good way, but with no experience at all in what they were doing. The chance they succeed is extremely low, even though they have everything going for them except experience. That was a bit shocking. On the other side, we have teams that are like, oh yeah, whatever, I don't really care about this, just get it over with and done. So not really working together, not really into it, but very, very, very experienced. Those teams are very unlikely to fail, showing that experience pulls through. If you translate that to big transformations, and you talk about that with, like, you evaluate those, many of the stories are like, yeah, we sort of less succeeded. It's not really what we wanted, but we also didn't completely fail. That is experience. Does not necessarily mean your agile transformation is correct. That might simply mean your experienced people pull through. Because they have more at stake than just a transformation. For us, it meant that we needed a mix. You want to have experienced people, let them be grumpy, that's fine. You want experience. You also want the highly motivated young guys going for, yeah, that's a new thing, let's go for it. What do we have to do? I don't know, but we're going to go for it. That is a good combination. Mix your experience. Also, don't put all the experiences in one basket. Think about the manifesto. All good guys in one team, they don't get anything done. They will have great ideas, they don't do something. The second conclusion was that they investigated your actual framework. Agile, Agile Scrum, Waterfall, V model, something completely made up by the company, something that changed every month depending on what they wanted to do. The impact of your framework on the success rate of your project is between 8 and -8%. That's it. That's all you will get out of it according to the study. Now +8 is still good. I mean, I'd like a +8% on my project. -8 is not so. But it underlines that your process is not the key element in any kind of transformation. So what is that the third conclusion is, what drives team most is what they called compelling vision and direction. It's the one question that keeps a lot of people busy, and that's why are we doing this? And why are we doing this is very important for a team. Of course we wanted to make the best games, the best possible feedback. Why are we using Agile? Because it provides you this communication loops, provides you the feedback. And why are we doing it? Because we promised them that working this way, we would not do overtime. That's what's in it for you. And we sat together with the management team and said, okay, if we really want to do this, and we support this way of working, we think this can really work, we stick to our guns. If we say, you're not going to do overtime, then you are not going to do overtime. So this is a vision that we communicated to the whole studio. And say, look, I know you have questions about Agile. This is the strategic place of the studio. This is the way of working that we want you to work in, because we think it has benefits, because it has communication, it has visuals, it has the things we needed as management, and the things we thought teams needed to make the communication happen. The third part was, this is going to be your benefit. That's part of the vision. And that, we started with communicating that to them, and we noticed that compelling direction and vision is not a one-time effort. The first year we did it, after 3 months, people were losing it a little bit already. I said, oh, but what's happening? Yeah, you know, all the change. You know the vision, right? Well, yeah, sort of. That hasn't changed. They said, yeah, it has changed. And then I was, no, it has not changed. But I'm in the information loop. I'm directly tied to my studio director. I have all the knowledge. They don't. I said, so what do you think has changed? Oh, this and this and this and this and this. Yeah, right. Okay, we mentioned it in a studio update and things like that. And then it was like, oh, did you read the memo? All right, good. And then we let it go. That's direction. That's not compelling. We went from a one time a year to at least one time every quarter. Like, are we still on the vision? Are we going in the right direction? Are you still getting out of this what you want? Do you see any means where we can improve this and make this better? Mini workshops every quarter. We introduce the studio head Q&A every month. All the questions you have, ask. All doubts you have, ask. Get the information about your why. Once a quarter, bring senior management from King in. If you have higher level doubts, ask them. If you don't believe you had a studio, for example, because I don't know why, maybe he doesn't stick to his guns. Ask those guys. Maybe they know. Opening up that vision to everyone has nothing to do with Agile, has everything to do with the gel Agile is talking about. Because the why and the what are key components to ask on what builds teams together. Not about how we're going to do this or when we're going to do this. Simon Sinek wrote a whole book about it. Start with why. It's the best question you can ask if you want to build a team. The follow-up of that, of course, is that you have to stick to your guns. And I don't know if it's the best way to build a team, The only thing I can conclude with is that in 4 years building that creation studio, these teams and myself never did overtime. Thank you.
Do we have some questions?
If you have later, you can see me wondering about. You can ask tomorrow. Peter, get into the room.
I'd like to thank you.
Oh,
Voucher.
thank you.
And I can say that at this moment we have a coffee break.
Good.
And the next session in this room will be design and build better, faster, together. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Goed aan.